In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we discuss the issues of the underserved and marginalized communities, as well as try to solve these issues. Tonight, we have a very special guest. We've got Mr. Lamar Davis as our guest tonight. And Lamar Davis was born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina, in an area named Liberty Hill, which was one of the oldest surviving neighborhoods that was a settlement for freedom out of slavery and home to one of the oldest churches in Charleston, which is the St. Peter's African Methodist Episcopal AME Church. After watching his grandmother struggle to pay bills on her own, he decided to start working at 12 years old and lived on his own since he was 16. He entered military service at 19, the U.S. Army 3rd Infantry Division, nicknamed the Dog-Faced Soldiers. Lemar has done military service, as just mentioned above. He identified as a Black, disabled, straight, cisgender male who is a decorated military veteran of 15 years in a rapid deployment unit. He has been deployed to the Bosnia and Kosovo war in Afghanistan, two deployments within the war in Iraq, as well as deployments to the Republic of South Korea and Japan. His reason for joining the military was the closest thing to becoming a superhero, to protect others who needed help defending themselves. If he had superpowers, he would end all wars, feed and shelter all people, eliminate all illnesses, and heal everyone to bring the world together as one big family, where there was no discrimination nor racism. Within his military service, Lemar developed a passion for leadership, development, education, and equality. As far as his education, he has achieved his Bachelor of Science degree in Business Management, Master's degree in Human Resource Management, and he is 1 year away from completing his Doctorate of Management degree in Executive Leadership and Global Leadership. Lemar is a global member of International Society for Organizational Change and Development, also known as ISOCD, and he belongs to the Lifelong Learners Program in Alberta, Canada, to support for his future educational needs. Lemar has also achieved his Health and Safety Administration designation, that's HSA, 47 certificates of training specializing in federal emergency management, as well as certificates in emergency response to terrorism, building relationships with indigenous and tribal governments, professional development series, leadership supervision enhancement program, that's the LSEP, primary leadership development course, PLDC, and multiple leadership development courses in Canada School of Public Service, that's the CSPS, plus so much more, including lifting as you lead Mentoring Circle LLMC Masterclass. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Mr. Lamar Davis. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay, there we go. And so, is there anything you'd like to add to your bio?
Well, you covered a lot of it, but I've always been a person that loved to learn. I believe in anybody new that you meet, you probably meeting them for a reason to learn from them and to
Mhm,
take something away. Like I take all my encounters with everybody to heart, no
mhm.
matter if it's good or bad. It's always a lesson to be learned and a lesson to keep in your pocket to navigate life.
Wow. Well, I tell you, it's an honor to have you here on the show. And I want to tell you personally here in the beginning that I want to thank you for your service because, all of us that have served in the military, we all had that same purpose and we all had that same mission, and that is to serve and protect. And, thank God that you and I were able to make it out of that. A lot of people did not. But, hey, that's one of those things that, you have to give your thanks and you have to keep it moving.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive here into the show. And, so people can learn a whole lot from you because I'm sure that there's a lot that you'll be able to teach us. Um, what initially drew you to a career in marketing?
Well, to be honest, it would have to tell you about my humble beginnings with my company. I started Larion Inc. We started off I was just doing resume writing, just starting off helping people. And then it got to the point where I felt guilty for charging people to help them
Mhm,
find work. So, needless to say, my heart was a little bit too big than my ambition to fill my pockets. So, we helped 266 families attain employment, and especially, I don't know if you remember, but a few years back there was the Alberta wildfires. They
uh-huh.
said this wildfire was so big that you could see it from space,
Oh,
and
wow.
a lot of people were displaced. A lot of people couldn't find jobs. A lot of people who went into working in the oil fields, dropped out of high school, and some only had grade 9, grade 10 education. And when you take their bread and butter away from them, entering back into the workforce, they had to create themselves a new identity because what else do they know other than working in the oil fields? So I took that to heart. I helped those family, helped those people redefine themselves and to find work. And then later on, I started thinking about business development and thinking about all the elements of business development. And marketing was a really. I was in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada at the time, and when I was studying the market, I felt like this was a niche to tap into and had a lot of chances for growth. And I started off small. I started off with the mom and pop shops, kind of just going, knocking on doors, walking into businesses, meeting the owners and just, help, just walking, talking with them. Look, I can help you with your menus. I can help you with your signage. I can help you bring customers to your door. How much help do you want? And I do market research. So when I do approach that business, I take a look at his competitors or their competitors, and I speak on their competitors as well. This is who you fighting against, and this is how I can help you, do more, achieve more, and make more profit. You know, I remember my first time. People didn't know me, didn't know my business. And I did a lot of stuff for free in the beginning just to prove myself. And I did a way where I market everything I was doing. I videotape everything I was doing, and then I use that as content for myself to build my business. But at the same time, like I said, I started off with mom and pop shops. They need help. They need help to grow. A lot of people didn't survive after COVID, a
Mhm.
lot of small businesses, and just to be able to go in and to help them get their business running again, it was just a blessing. So after I took a look at the marketing aspects, I thought of ways like, okay, what else do I need to know? What else do I need to understand that is like the cutting edge of marketing today? So if you don't know, sometimes you got to teach yourself, right? Or take classes. I took a class called Killer Marketing Secrets,
Mm.
and I've learned a lot. Is inside that class, right? And this is the secret. You learn something, you take it and you put it to use. Real time. As I was in that class, I was taking stuff and I was using these mom and pop shops as my like experiments and going with it and seeing things that work. Boom, boom. Then I'm documenting best practices. Then after that, I'm taking another element from the marketing secrets, which was the psychological part. They said that it takes 26 exposures for someone to subconsciously remember you or remember your product.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that means you have to create 26 versions of your identity, your marketing plan. Like you have to go with different ways to advertise on social media. You have to go through it weekly. Like you're talking like an extensive plan, and that's just the basics. Like that's the root. No less than 26 exposures that you need to create for people to remember you subconsciously.
Oh, wow.
So I was challenging in the beginning because, like I said, coming up with 26 different ideas on how to market one thing. It takes a lot of imagination. It takes a lot of out of the box thinking. And
Mhm.
then, and we started to be really successful at it. We created a template that we can not only go from business to business, because at the end of the day, I couldn't do everything myself. And one of the things I learned in leadership classes is there was a term called force multiplier. So how do I take myself and extend myself out into other people? So
Mhm.
I start to look for business partners. I start to look for people with ambition. And I say, hey, come work with me on this project. I never said I'm hiring you, but like, come work with me on this project. I went to university looking for marketing students. I went to high schools looking for young entrepreneurs, and I work with them not only to mold and teach them, but at the same time I'm getting work done, and trying these different things out. But I extended my knowledge, my expertise into these people to work as my arms and legs to get a lot of things done. So, we did everything from putting flyers on cars. We did everything from standing in front of businesses with signage. We did everything from going to the malls, and doing demonstrations. We went to trade shows. We went to many different avenues. And then we realized that we had to get into the digital world. So Larry on Inc., I do call it my full service creative digital design agency, meaning that we not only started getting into things like Photoshop, creating flyers and stuff like that, but we also got into web building. So this was huge for the mom and pop shops because they didn't have any online presence,
Mhm.
right? So being able to start, do a starter package for these companies, allow them something affordable, but as they grow and make profit, then we were able to raise our prices. And then
Mhm.
once we have a proven system and we took all of our best practices and documented, and then we just copied and paste when we went from business to business. Granted, there is some unique things from different companies, but you adjust and make moves with those things. But at the end of the day, foundation and principles and pillars of marketing was always there.
Oh, wow. So you initially, when you rolled out from your business, you had all of these different services already readily available to go.
No, no, sir. Everything was growth. A little bit of
Okay.
painstaking, but here's an example. At my humble beginnings, just doing resume writing.
Hmm.
I'm doing. I thought I was pretty good. I got my HR degree. I'm just doing these things. I can provide this service, and then it came to the point where I started writing resumes for myself, and I'm like, I need to try to get some more work as I'm starting my own business, because sometimes you have to supplement a business when you're just starting. And but I noticed I couldn't get jobs. I'm like, what am I doing different? I thought I was on the top of everything I knew. So I invested in myself. I paid $600 to get a resume written by this big firm. They gave me probably like 6 different templates. Because of my experience, I can go into probably 6 different industries. And then I took those templates and I copied and paste. I used them as my best practice for my business. I already paid the money for it, and I used it and I started making money. Something simple as that. I invested $600. I probably made $60,000 just off of that
Oh,
investment.
wow.
It was a point when we started getting into building websites, which is the same thing. My company started off. I met this guy who was doing websites on the side, and this is the type of person I am. I'm like, really? Show me. What are you doing? I'm over your shoulder. I'm learning. One thing in the military they taught us is obtain and acquire information, as much
Yep.
information as possible.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm sitting there and I'm learning. I'm over your shoulder. I'm seeing what you're doing. I'm seeing what kind of programs you're using. I'm seeing what kind of computer you got that can handle those programs. I'm taking a look at your RAM, your hard drive, I'm looking at everything. And then once I got my website built and I learned all the aspects of building websites, I started doing it myself. And then
Oh,
I started
wow.
making like $30,000 a month just building websites. I didn't
Yeah.
even look at resume writing anymore. I had that on the side, but building websites was the future at that time, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
that's what I'm saying. When you start paying for services, start paying attention to these services, and then you can do it yourself. And then slowly I start building, my company. I went from resume writing to website building. I went into graphic designing, and then eventually on, I started Larion Media Group, where we got into videography, filming, content creation. We work much more. Um, so what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter where you start. Always keep evolving. Don't ever start when you see something that's a good idea. Take it hard, learn something about it, educate yourself, and then put it to practice. You can just do it as a little promo of just trying it out. If you see if it takes off, or you got a good product, then start advertising yourself, marketing yourself, and pushing it. And then you start making money. There's no excuse for us not to make money in today's society.
So, can you describe a project that you consider a turning point in your marketing career?
Hmm. One project that I took on in my marketing is, I was working with this physical therapy company, and in that company they just had one location, and I started, doing some work with them, doing their advertisement, everything. We even did some commercials. We did their designing for their trade shows, their displays, and all that stuff. And and then he liked my work so much, he was willing to give me the vice president position in his company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and working within that company, I took him from one location to 6 locations in 2 years, just by understanding where you need to put your business at, who are the competition and where they're located. I did everything from all the market research, all the business research. I did the competitor research. I did all types of business analysis. I saw what services were hot, what services wasn't. I saw all the programs that we could do. Like, say, for instance, we had a northern location that was close to the military bases. So that location, I told them we should work on rehab, and we need to work on getting a contract with the Canadian Army, or the Canadian military, to bring in their soldiers on a regular basis to help them with, all their injuries. Because of anything we learn in the military, we push ourselves till we break sometimes.
Right.
and then you got a little bit of downtime. Yep.
Yeah.
So started generating almost $600,000 in its first year, just by having that one contract with the military. We wasn't even looking at like the surrounding communities yet. We were just focusing on that military one at that time.
Oh, wow. What
And
are the
then,
most important?
say for instance, sorry. Oh, I was saying, the central location was like an older location, and we had more geriatric community. So we work with. There was a thing called Alberta Works and Services, where they do the benefits for the elderly, and then we work with them to bring the elderly to our locations, and we provide services for them. And then we started to build that location up as well. So the thing was just understanding who's in your area, who your targeted audience is, and then make sure you're catering to that audience.
Mm. Can you tell us what are the most important skills a marketing professional should possess today?
Communication. That's like the number one. Even in business development, communication is everything. There's too many times I walked into companies and I absorb, do like a little audit, and I walk around and I talk with the staff. I talk with HR. I talk with, their controllers and finance staff, and then usually it all comes down to educate. I'm sorry, not education, communication, right? So if a marketer knows how to communicate, regardless if it's in word, social media, if it's in pictures, filming, movies, then these are the key to being a really good marketing professional.
So, how do you stay updated with the latest marketing trends and technologies?
So once again, taking classes, always updating my knowledge. I go to the universities. I speak with marketing students. I sometimes I do interviews with students just to see where their knowledge is at and stuff like that. Sometimes I go there with certain projects, work with the professors, and I throw little ideas at them and see what they do. And some of these guys, they come up with these new innovative ideas, and then I start rolling with those ideas and trying to see how they work in the real world.
So, let me ask you this because let me go back a little bit.
Mhm.
And when you were talking about, um, when you first was doing your plan and how you came across the help that you came across, the help that you got from like the college students and various people. Did you ever think that when you brought those people on, because it's basically like you use like an internship is what it sounds like what you used. But when you brought these people on, did you ever think that the skill sets they had would be so great that it would bring you early success like it did?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I can't do everything myself,
Mhm.
so you do need staff, especially when your business is growing. And I when I bring some of those university students on for these projects, I look how they communicate. I look how what their teamwork looks like. I look at their work ethic, and if I feel that they're the one that's actually leading, producing, and even teaching others as they're working on a project, then that's the leader you want on your team, right? So I'm
Mhm.
always headhunting and I'm looking for talent in sometimes the most unconventional ways.
Oh, wow. So, so then, as far as like just advertisement and advertising your brand, how long did it take before your brand actually caught on and you started to expand and grow? How long did it take from beginning to where you are now? How long did it take you to grow?
Ooh. Well, I started Larry on Inc. in 2016,
Hmm.
and I would say it took me maybe a good 3 years, because I was in that phase of learning and growing. Like, wow, this sounds good. Like, I'm gonna start doing graphic designing and start selling logos. Wow, this is good. I'm gonna, start selling advertising. I'm like, wow, I want to get into filming. So when I got into filming, then I went on Facebook Marketplace and I found a camera and I started out with one and I started cheap and then I started using it. Understanding, I think a good DJ that I met told me you are only as good as the equipment that you use. So once you master your equipment, then you can get the most out of it, and then you can start advancing yourself to something more bigger. So I started off with an SL2 Canon camera, and then next thing you know, I start getting bigger cameras. You know what I'm saying? Like I still use that SL2 on the fly. I usually have that as my little backup camera just in case. I have it on my hip at all times, and you know things happen, batteries die. Sometimes the event goes longer. Those extra cameras come in good when you need to use it, at certain
Right.
times.
Oh, wow. So, can you share a successful marketing campaign you worked on and what made it effective?
Okay. Well, I think one of the successful marketing campaign, we were working with this one artist. His name was Core 36.
Mhm.
Um, he had these great and grand ideas. He's a little bit different, and we started, working with him, and we started like looking at his brand himself. And then, one of the first questions I asked him, like, "Do you have any merch?" And then he was like, "No, I don't have nothing." Right? I say, "Okay." So I just took him all the way back down to the basics. I say, the first thing you need a logo. After your logo, we're gonna put that logo on merchandise, hats, shirts, hoodies, stickers, pins. Like, we don't care. Whatever your budget can afford, we're gonna put it on something. And when we go to your shows, we're going to give them away for free because it
Oh,
takes
wow.
26 forms of exposure before people start to remember you. So we need to start putting these things in people's hands. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it's a sticker, a pin, a ball cap, a t-shirt. I don't care what it is. It could be a flask. It could be chapstick. I don't care. Put it in their hands and they're going to start remembering these things, right? And then as we start going, and then probably within a week, I took him to do a live show in the mall. I said, we're going to do like this flash mob thing. We got the speakers and everything. We got guys on each corner looking at security, knowing where they're at. And we're just going to get you to perform in front of everybody inside the mall. He said, "You sure we can do that?" I said, "We got enough supporting people to do this." But I said, "Brother, believe me, I've been at war. I'm a very tactical person. When we gonna go in with a mission, we going in with a mission." So we got to the atrium of the mall. We had everything ready, his speakers and everything. And then I gave him a wireless mic, and he just went crazy. I said, "I want you climbing on stuff. I want you like grabbing people's phone and rapping in front of their phones, singing in front of their phones. I want you to, include the kids, the old ladies. I don't care. Interact with everybody."
Mm.
So he started to do this, and then people start to record him because in this day and age, people with their cell phones. And then he had a on the back of his T-shirt, we put his websites and not his website, sorry, social media tags. Next thing you know, his I think his following was at like 300 or something, and in one day it went to 3,000. So
Mm.
we did the same thing at a different mall the next day. He went to 10,000 and he just kept growing. So I'm like, okay, we got obviously people know who you are. You're building a trend. Now we need to do music video. So we start working with his budget. And the way I work with him with his budget, because you ever heard of the term starving artist? That's a
Yes.
that's a true thing. That's a true because I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, you asking me for a lot of work. I gotta get paid, right? So
Yeah.
I came up with this concept. If we take multiple artists and group them together,
Uh-huh.
so we're going to do a rotation. So if we have a merch table, Whatever artist that's not on stage, you work in the merch table.
Okay.
Another artist
Okay.
that's there, they're working the door. We got another artist there, you working the lights. So we bring everybody in as a commerce. So whoever's on stage, that's going to be the most important person, and we all rotate. So now it's not free labor because I got people working and selling your merch for you. We're getting a piece of the door from the venue that we have. We're getting a piece of the alcohol sales because we from the venue. Like, you have to negotiate this too. So we're talking to the right places. We get in the right venues. We understanding who actually goes to those venues. Um, like I say, for like, we're looking to cater to a younger crowd. You want to go to where the younger people are. However, sometimes the other venues are cheaper. So now it becomes a marketing strategy of how we get people to that location. And then now I work at creating a better deal with these venues, because now I'm bringing people to your venue. So now I'm not only making money from the artist, but now I'm making money from the venue because we're promoting your company as well. So
Mhm.
so as an entrepreneur, you have to think of ways to make money all the time and understand that if you're doing this person a favor, how could I get some money from this person? It's not like a malicious thing or anything, but that's the nature of the beast. You have to make money. Time is money.
Wow. So that's very innovative. Because I think now you've got to be so creative in how you're doing things, especially like in this case, it sounds like this was entertainment. And so with that, and you going to how the followers all of a sudden just grew by 3,000%. um how did this actually help this artist, like for the rest of that year or the following year? Because that sounds like you did a lot to really get him out there, because that was like really big promotion.
Yeah, it was really big promotion, and he really blew up after we produced his music videos and stuff as well. And he had an opportunity to open for a lot of really big artists, um, really big events, venues. He performed at so many, like Shambhala is like a EDM electronic music festival. He
Hmm.
performed out there. There's a lot of different events, like in Canada, cannabis is legal, so they have a lot of cannabis festivals. Of course, we come on the stage
Hmm.
there to work with those crowds. We did. He got requested from the Stollery Foundation because he did a lot of charity on his own. So the Stollery Children's Hospital, we had a fundraising event, and he got Course Clean music. He got to perform there. So now he had more cultured people taking a look at him as well.
Mm.
So, and then once we got him so much exposure, he got to work with Juno Award-winning artists, and
Hmm.
the Juno is like the Canadian version of the Grammys,
Okay.
right? So he got to work with some of those people, and he got even more exposure.
Hmm. Wow. How do you approach marketing research to understand your audience better?
So marketing research, I always tell the business owners that I talk to, yeah, I said we got to start with a blank piece of paper. So the reason that you're calling me, and the reason that you're asking for help is meaning that the things that you're doing ain't working, right? So we have to think outside the box. So one of the first things I do is I take the business owners and stand out in front of their building. I say,
Hmm.
take a look at this. I say, think about this. When you look at this building and you look at everything in front of it, does it look like a cruise ship with everything looking nice and entertaining and music bumping and it looks nice? Or does it look like a barge with garbage in front of it and
Oh,
it's unappealing? You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like I'm like totally truthful to my clients. And
Hmm.
I usually get them to talk when I'm having these conversations as well. So what do you think? What does this look like? Would you be happy walking into this? Would you eat food from this place looking like this in the front?
Hmm.
You know? And then I turn them around and we look at the streets. that's coming into the place? What does your parking look like? What road exposure do you have? What does rush hour traffic look like? Because you can do a lot of advertising in rush hour traffic. You know what I'm saying? What does what's your budget, and are you making money? What's the times where you're super busy and the times that you're not? And how can we get those times that you're not busy? You know what I'm saying? So what different things can we do? With this world of gig jobs and stuff with DoorDash, Uber Eats, and all that stuff. Skip the Dishes, I believe, as well. If it's a restaurant, are you on those platforms? Because if you are isolated somewhere where a lot of people can't get to you, you need to bring people to you digitally. So how are you looking at, or how are you using these things? So, and the crazy thing about some of those gig jobs like DoorDash and stuff, they're not just food anymore. So you can put other types of businesses and services on those things, and people can take advantage of that before it becomes too big. I guess I'm throwing out a secret to your audience right now. But this is the type of out-of-the-box thinking I force the entrepreneurs and business owners to start thinking about. Like looking at your downtime, how can we maximize it? You know what I'm saying? Looking at your busy times, how can we balance it out? What is your staff doing when people walk through the door? Are they greeting people? Because remember, when people go to certain businesses, it's like creating a relationship. If your people are just ignoring you on their phone, like, yeah, welcome to Lamar's Bacon Shack, ain't nobody gonna come there no more. Ain't nobody gonna come.
No, not with that.
Exactly, right? So when a customer walks through their door, they better be treated like the King of England. They better be treated like royalty. Understand what their wants and needs are. I believe there was a there was an acronym that I studied. I think the acronym was called FIRST, but I can't remember all of. I know F was mean find, like find the customer. I was like kind of like dig and understand like what they want, like investigate, I guess. And R is like relate, so kind of relating to their projects or whatever and what they're doing. S is trying to solve their problem, and T is to thank them, right? So I can get you the correct acronym, but basically, in a sense, that's what it is. So soon as a customer, you should be finding them, you should be greeting them, you should be making them feel good. You should be asking questions. What do they really want? If it's a restaurant, maybe they want to try something new. Boom, throw your daily specials out there. If it's their first time, tell them what tastes good to you. Ask them a question. What kind of food do you like? Do you like spicy? Do you like savory? And then you start making suggestions, right? If it's home improvement, what are your projects you working on? This is the type of tools you need. Maybe you should look at Home Depot's 1, 2, 3 videos on YouTube. They can teach you how to build everything, right? And then it's just a matter of the industry and the different tools that's out there. But you start inquiring about what they actually need. Are being respectful. So I was raised in the South, and if I don't say yes, ma'am, and no, sir, I swear my grandmother's ghost going to appear and slap the crap out of me. I have to say it. The military just reinforced, but I have to say it. So I don't care if they're 2 years old or 80 years old. I'm saying yes, ma'am, no, sir. And you show that respect when you're dealing with your customer, because customers demand respect. They're spending their money. Right. And then after that, solving their problems, after you like listen to them, with intention, understanding their actual needs, and then you start, solving their problems, you start recommending things that they actually really want. And then, like I said, at the end of the day, you got to thank them. Thank them for coming, thank them for spending time, thank them for sharing their project, and all these things. And this will get you return customers, because once again, when people start talking and you build that great relationship with them, and then they start coming back, they start telling their friends, you got to go check out this spot. You can be located in a trucking industrial area, and people will come if the relationship's right and you market yourself properly. And of course, have the right
Right.
attitude to walk through the door.
What role does storytelling play in your marketing strategy?
Storytelling is everything because people don't buy products just with logic alone. They buy it with emotions. So you have to sell those emotions. Like say for instance, iPhone had the same design for such the longest time, but why do people, buy iPhones all the time? Like,
Mhm.
and I believe it's the relationship that they have with the product, the updates, the music. You become one with your device. They just make you happy to have one, right? They make you think that there's a value to it, having that type of phone. My wife, we joke all the time. She's an Android user, and then I'm staying cracking jokes on her all the time, especially after Samsung phones were blowing up way back in the day. You know, people saying those phones are blowing up in their pockets. You know, I,
Right.
I that's a hazard you walking around. And the fact that her phone's like this big, so I always tell her phone's a two-man lift.
Oh my god. Sound like you guys have a lot of fun too.
Oh, it's all about fun. It's all about relationships. But,
Yes, sir.
but these are the type of things that you have to build those relationships, and you have to make people excited about products.
Let's transition over to your work in media. How did you transition from marketing to your work in media?
Okay, so there's two parts to this. Unfortunately, I had this. I was trending, making like $30,000 a day. Sorry, a week, with the website building. And
Mhm.
then I had this friend. He was kind of down on his luck. His family. His children call me uncle. All these things were no blood related or anything like that. And I took a chance on him. I brought him in. I gave him some skills that he could use to build himself up from doing what he was trying to do before. I think his other job he had was a welder,
Mhm.
and but that industry, just wasn't kicking off or hiring the way he wanted to. And so, I taught him how to build websites. So once again, force multiplier. I can't build all these, even though I've learned the knowledge on how to build all these websites. I couldn't do it all by myself. So I'm like, okay, I'll bring you in. I'll cut you in the profits on all the websites that you sell and that you build, and we'll go from there. So I was, even though he wasn't really making money, I was kind of paying his rent and putting his kids through their extracurricular activities and stuff because I believed in him. And then and unfortunately, him and his wife got super greedy and wanted to know how much money I was really making. They thought I was hiding things. I was very transparent. And they
Oh,
actually tried to steal my company from under me.
oh wow.
Yeah, so I told him like either you so what he was doing is he was all the websites and everything we were building, he was putting it under his name, not my company's name. So he only had access to everything. Right? So he was basically trying to steal all my customers and all my intellectual work. And I warned him. I was like, "Hey, you don't know me. I'm a combat soldier. You don't want me to put my boots to the floor. So either you give me back everything I need from my company, or I'm going to crash my company in front of you, and I'm just going to rebuild it. So either at any way, you don't have anything because you don't know how to use everything properly.
Mhm.
So he unfortunately I had to contact all my vendors and customers and everything and transition. So while that was down, I was always thinking of the next thing, because I was like, okay, I wanted to get into media. So when we were still doing creating a what do you call it? Doing digital design, websites, graphic art, the marketing stuff, the business development stuff. I started looking at. That's when I said I bought that SL2, and I started looking at. I started going to different shows, and then I started filming like different artists, and, and I was just doing it for fun, and just testing out the equipment. And then the artists were like, "Hey, did you get my set?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got your set. Hey, can I'll pay you if you give me a copy." I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." So every artist that came up there, I went to them. Hey, I filmed your set for you. Hey, I'm selling it for this much. What do you think? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Send it to me. I'll cash app you. I'll send you an e-transfer or whatever. I'm like, okay, this is a moneymaker right here. And and then so I started doing this all the time in my private time, right? Just to see like it doesn't work for if so I went to a rap show. They love that. They love getting footage and all that stuff, right? Because they can put it all over social media. Then I started going to like rock shows. I went to folk music shows. I went to the big country jamboree. I went to all these different places and I got the same result. So I'm like, okay, so now I have to do a step up. I got two more cameras where I can do two different angles. So when you do post editing, now I can change it to get different angles and I make it look more professional just instead of a static view of
Great
one
shot.
camera in a fixed position.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I started doing all that, so I got really good with Logic Pro, Adobe Premiere, and all the suites that's involved in that, right? And then I start mastering that stuff. And then as this chaos was going over with my website development and the regular Larion Inc., I was like, I'm going to start a media division. So I already started the paperwork. I started putting together all my best practices. And then I uh and then I started like putting it down on paper and it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So when my old ex-business partner tried to steal my company, it wasn't nothing to shut that down temporarily because I already started something new that I never told him about. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working on my media company and it started going and going. So I started a documentary called Behind the Turntables, where I got to interview DJs. I got to interview so many different DJs. I got to interview DJ Infamous, who is Ludacris's tour
Yep.
DJ. I got to I don't know if you know who Stretch Bassett is. He's like
Oh.
a really huge DJ that travels with DJ Jazzy Jeff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
A-Track is like a legendary bass and house kind of a DJ, the electronic
Mm-hmm.
music DJ. DJ Dice was he is an old school DJ that does scratching and all different types of DJ, but he opened for Run DMC. He opened for like so many different old school artists from back in the day, and the stories that he have is crazy. Like, so I can't wait till we finish this documentary because some of the stuff these DJs are talking about is insane. And but at the same time, looking at this industry of the DJs and the producers, like a lot of them had to make life decisions on, do I stay doing what I love? But now I have a child. Now I have the responsibilities. Now I have to work. And now they can't be in this industry at the same time. And they have to make sacrifices for their families. And I just thought that that story should be told. And the other thing about that documentary as well is that when you look at music today, everybody is all about the artist, the artist, the artist, the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Who's making the beats for that artist? Who's some of these artists don't even write their own music.
Exactly.
You know, so I was trying to do a tribute to the people behind the scenes with Behind the Turntables, and I'm also working on another project called DJ God, which is going to be a DJ competition. So I'm working on getting supporters, vendors, and stuff like that, and then I'm going to make this thing something truly remarkable and super huge because nothing has been done like it at all. But and then there's other DJs like Baggy Lean and the one DJ I call my sensei is a DJ Shaolin. Number one because I love Wu-Tang Clan. I grew up on that music as a teenager. But DJ Shaolin, he was the one that says, Lamar, put your hands on this turntable. Do it. Don't just film it all the time. Do it. and then I start falling in love with being a DJ. So and I got a chance myself to DJ at Shambhala, one of the biggest music festival for EDM music, which is, I thought I was a hip hop guy. I found out that I love all music. Uh, I did another one called Brain Candy Festival, and a whole bunch of other shows. Like I opened for Flip De Niro, Obi Trice, Dexter Daps. Like, so I got a chance not only because when I went there to DJ, so when I'm on stage, I'm like, oh, this is DJ Mott. That was my childhood nickname, Mott, but I call it the master of the turntables. Anyway, and then as I'm on stage, I'm doing this, but when I'm off stage, I'm looking at merchandising tables. I set up an interview area with the venue. So when DJs come off, I interview them right away. And I use all these opportunities from one opportunity to make more money. Because not only I want that footage for my documentary, but those DJs want those footage for their use as well, for their Instagram and all these other things, right? So this is when content creation start being a really huge thing for me and my company.
Oh, wow. So, what do you believe are the biggest challenges facing media professionals today?
Media is changing constantly. Radio is dead. Like people used to charge almost $10,000 for a little 5-minute spot on the radio. But now you can get that same 5-minute spot for $300. So nobody's listening to radio no more. Everything's on Spotify, everything's on Apple Music and all these different things. Like, so you have to really know how to change things up. Even with like in media, just like what you're doing yourself, you're in YouTube, you're in LinkedIn, you're in many different platforms. People are trying to get on Patreon. There used to be one called Penguin, and there's so many other platforms that you can use to monetize yourself. So now the game changed. It's not about traditional media like radio and television. Now you have to understand what the world is doing with social media, with mobile devices and all the mobile platforms. And those are the ways, that's the new media of today. And the other thing to remember about this is the attention span of your audience. Because before I used to make a lot of money trying to make these 30-minute like type or 15-minute commercials. Nah, everything is micro absorption now, right? It's got to be like 6 seconds, no more than 30 seconds for bites. So what I used to do with my artists for businesses, I would tell them we're going to create a media bank where we just do a whole bunch of filming, random different things, because people love the weirdest things sometimes. And I'll tell you an example in a second. But we'll take all these random different things and we're going to chop it up into these little segments and we're going to put them out on social media. And remember I saying those little things you count to those 26 points of exposure for marketing as a base.
Yes.
So one of the craziest things we were
so important.
Exactly. So one of the craziest little we were doing, it was this place called Chan Can Walk. It was like a Chinese restaurant. We got more views off of being in the kitchen, filming the cooks, flipping everything and setting everything on. It looked like everything is on fire to me because all the flames are jumping up all the time. But I'm back there from that, and people were clicking on that part, and they didn't even care about the food in the restaurant or on the pretty plate that you make all perfect and very colorful, and you even go into the after and your post production and make sure all the colors vibrant and everything. People don't care about that. They care about how they actually cook it and doing it. It's like I would have never thought that. But then you take this type of knowledge and understand that people they're more curious in how you do things than what you have in front of you, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure if you did a whole bunch of behind the scenes of how you set up your whole thing with your show, people will be all over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just as you say that, because I know that now podcasts are, pretty much the hot thing because, mainstream media has lost its way and people are actually moving away from that. And so just with that, as you mentioned that, and the platforms that I'm on, actually, it's December now, so I can say a new season kicks off January 7th, season 3. And
Yes,
so
sir.
we're actually going to be adding more platforms, as a matter of fact. And
Nice.
now we're actually going to be going to Twitch. I don't know if you heard of Twitch or not.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
We're
know
going to be
Twitch.
going to Twitch as well because and just learning. I've been actually studying and just going through and just try to just mingling through it and just trying to familiarize myself with it and just doing a few things and so forth. Twitch is hot, and
Yep.
for those that especially since they call it Twitch TV, it's going to be really wonderful. I think once we actually roll this out the way we want to and we should, because it's going to become this thing that not only are people going to be able to see the complete video, but they're going to get all of the video, all of the sound, and everything that has to come with it. Because when you don't have
Yeah.
to cut off anything and you get everything that you want to get, and people are loving the content, then that's what makes it
Yeah.
happen. And so I think that's really interesting to hear you say that, though, when you talk about media, because I know when you and I first talked, I remember when you was telling me this story about how you got started and everything, and that always stuck with me because I'm just thinking like that's really creative to go and do things the way you did them. But not only did you just do it, but I guess it was like the timing was right and everything was just right. So you could eat everything off the tree and you can get as
Exactly.
full as you wanted to get. I love that. I really love that. And can you just tell us like what is it that made you know that that timing was right at that moment when you started in the media part?
Ooh. I mean, I'm a religious man too, and I can say divine intervention,
Mhm.
but sometimes you just have to be in the moment and just listen to your gut. I believe like when I got out of the military, I got really programmed to be a soldier. And when I came out, I was still had that soldier like mentality. Everything was a mission. Everything needed to be completed. Everything needed to be timely. Like there was black and white. And then when I started to connect back to myself, and I started to listen to my own intentions. I started to listen to my own instincts. I started to think about what I really wanted to do and just kind of quit worrying so much about doing something and just go do something. And then things start rolling itself out. Just like how I bought that SL2 camera off of Facebook Marketplace, and I went to a show. I paid to get in that show, and I was just filming, And then I started making money being there. Yeah, I paid $20 to get into the venue, and I probably left there with $300, $400 in my pocket. Yeah, I think that was
Oh,
a good
wow.
investment. So
Oh,
now I started thinking about multiplying that. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying?
mhm,
And how do you recreate it to make it happen over and over and over again? So
mhm.
it's just to me it was just divine intervention, kind of being open to the possibilities of just making something out of nothing. Being creative. Like I said, like people with a true entrepreneurial mindset will find a way to make money off anything. You know how they say, I'll sell sand to a scorpion, or I'll sell ice to a penguin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all about how you present it, how you build that relationship to that one thing, and you'll start making people want it.
Mm. So, can you discuss the impact of social media on traditional marketing strategies?
Yes, attention. People's attention is shorter. Uh, it's a gift and a curse at the same time. The gift is that you can take 30 minutes of filming and you can probably turn it into almost 2 hours worth of content. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The curse is you have all this short content that you have to continuously cut everything up and kind of make it to what's going to grab people's attention, because now you talk about just the film itself, you got to add like labels and words. And do you want words to jump out at people? Do you want words to sit behind people? Do you like this all these different effects that you can use? And then you got to think about the audience you're trying to reach at the same time, because the way I'm going to build advertisement or market to the youth is going to be way different from the advertisements I'm going to use to market to my generation. You know what I'm saying? Like I might be using rap music and this mumble rap stuff that they got going on now, and then but for our generation, I might be using 90s R&B, or you have to be careful because you can't copyright people's stuff. So now
Right.
you have to learn how to create music yourself. So this is why also I got into music production, because I was like, I'm tired of marketing stuff on Facebook and then they cutting it out because of copyright this and this and this. And then you're like, how do I beat this? I'm like, I'm going to create my own. So now I listen to music. I take the undertone melody, change it up a little bit, but still have the rhythm. And then I just create my own stuff. Right. And then everything starts to pass. But that's another skill set that I had to learn. I had to learn music production.
Oh, wow. And so just in learning music production, so that means that you also learned how to produce your own beats.
Yes. I have a what is this? I got too many things. I got a Ableton Push. I got a key oscillator. I got a Korg keyboard. I have MPC One. I have tons of stuff. You can't see it, but it's all over there. But basically, this area is like my video video design area, and over there is my music production area. So I
Okay,
do
so
commercials and stuff
I
over
see your
here.
platinum albums back there in the back.
Yeah. I got albums. Of course, I'm a DJ. I love music, and a lot of those albums mean something to me. But I'm also one of the things I made money on. I found the guy who actually made these frames,
Okay.
and then I asked him like, how much would it cost for you to make one of those for new artists? And then he said, for you, because I built that relationship, he said, let's try this out together. Let's see how much money we can make. And he used to charge me like half price. Like he used to charge $70 for those things right there. And I was getting it for like $40 or $30 for new artists. And then when new artists see that you have your own gold album or platinum album kind of made, it's kind of motivating them and enticing them. And then they start buying it from me. Can you do my next album like this? I want to put this on my wall too. So now I'm charging $140, for it. So now I'm getting the guy his $70 making cut. I'm making $70 for my cut. The artist is getting something that they really, 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 really want and willing to pay anything they want from it. And then I do work with people with pricing and stuff like that. I'm not greedy, but
I understand.
turn that's again another way to turn something into money. I like those albums. How can I make money off these albums and pay for my next set of albums I want on the wall?
Right.
Work a deal with the people who make it, market it to people who actually want it, and then see if you can put a profit on it, put value on it.
How do you ensure that the content you create is both engaging and informative?
Okay, so engagement is huge. One of the marketing 101 secrets is creating engagement or creating an action item within your marketing. So the action item is something that you would try to get the end user to do, like subscribe to this show, or click this link and register for this event, or take this quiz for a chance to win, so and so prize, or come to this venue this night and have a chance to win, $200, just as a door prize. Having these little call to actions will entice people to want to know more. Some people won't give you their attention if they're not getting something for free sometimes.
Right. What advice would you give someone looking to break into the media industry?
I would say be an out of box thinker. I would say study the latest trends. Everything is trends in marketing. Uh, this might sound so cliche. Go on TikTok. Take a look at what's going on. Copy and repeat. What
That's
are
a
they
gem.
doing?
That's a gem.
That's a gem. Go on TikTok. That thing is blowing up right now for some weird reason. I go in there, I'm like, I don't get it. But when I try to do it in a way for my clients, people love it. They get clicks, and that's just another platform. I know they're trying to stop us from making money off of it, but that's just another platform.
Yeah, and you are you here? Oh, it did something just then. Are you back?
Yeah, you went out way and then you came back on the other side. Oh, now it flipped back.
There we go. Yeah, so yeah, you was talking about yeah, let's talk about TikTok though. I actually did that same thing. I just decided because I was trying to figure out what's the craze. I created an account and I just went and I was just researching and watching and looking. And so I decided to do a couple of things. First, I just posted pictures. Then I started posting some of my promo videos. Then I posted the intro video that played tonight, that plays before every show. And I played that, and all of a sudden, it's getting the clicks and the likes. And all of a sudden, I'm over 2,000, 3,000 followers. And I'm like, I don't even know these people, but I'm like, okay. I mean, it's not discouraging for those of you that followed,
Right,
but
right.
I just didn't understand how that worked. And I kind of like have some idea about what happens with TikTok, but TikTok is like its own planet
Yes.
and it just does like an enormous amount of things. And I'm happy for it. And, I just like the idea of just, whatever that is that draws the people, it draws them.
Absolutely, and Twitch is another one like that. Twitch actually survived the COVID as well, right? It's
Hmm.
been huge. A lot of DJs made a lot of money on Twitch during COVID because everybody was online, and today it's still live to this day. People are still going to. And the big thing about Twitch and TikTok, that you're reaching people from around the world. So
Yes.
you're reaching outside of your demographic or where you're currently at.
Right. That's the thing. And that's where we're actually trying to go. How do you measure success in media campaigns?
Mm. So there's a bunch of different ways you can look at success as bottom dollar. Did you uh, get a return on your investment from the media that you paid for, the marketing that you paid for, and then what was the outcome from those particular events, measured by dollar made in the register, or lead generation, or clicks, or likes, or anything that you're trying to achieve, depending on your end goal. Most artists look for likes and streams because they want people to stream their music. Restaurants is looking for return customers, new customers coming into their location. Like I said, they're trying to figure out a way to uh, create traffic in their downtime to kind of maximize their growth, right? So, I told them certain things like have an event only for this time frame and try to pull people into your establishment. So it depends on the type of form that you're using. Like if you're using Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, it's all about likes and clicks.
Hmm.
And also like for YouTube as well, it's all about subscriptions. Getting people to subscribe. When you get to Twitch, it's going to be about subscription based as well. But you do have the opportunity to get tips, from people on Twitch as well, because I know a lot of people who make money just like that. A lot of DJs go out and stream in the middle of the night, to different people around the world, and they keep getting all these tips all night. Some people make $500 in the night.
Oh,
So
wow. You mean like monetary?
monetary, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Twitch is so. When you said Twitch, I'm like, you already on it. That's the place
mhm.
to be,
Oh,
right? And that's a
wow.
global stage as well.
Right. Oh, wow.
So, so the other thing to remember as well, I meant to say this from your last question, is understanding hashtags.
Mhm.
Having a real good hashtag campaign will open up an avenue for people from different things. So say for instance, and I'm gonna tell you a cheat. This might be maybe dirty marketing, but I go on Google and I put give me the top 100 hashtags and they'll generate a list for you. you can copy and you can paste that right into your description of your video or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody who always researching or going for these certain things, those hashtags will pull people into your video. So, say for instance, what's coming up? Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So, Christmas is coming up. Even though I'm doing a video for, let's say, I'm gonna just say Core 36, that artist, I'm gonna put
Mm-hmm.
hashtag Christmas in there. Because even though his song ain't about Christmas, they're gonna have to come look at it.
Oh wow.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So another one I
And
believe
it's
is
trending at that.
exactly. So soon the hashtag 2025, and I would encourage your people and your viewers to start using this. Hashtag 2025 is going to be hot soon because the new year is coming. Be one
Mm-hmm.
of the first people for hashtag 2025. You know, and for business owners and future marketers, always think ahead. Always think ahead. Like right now, you should be thinking about New Year's, Valentine's Day, Easter, any religious, not religious holiday, but like observance day for, like, I know Martin Luther King is in January, and there's a couple other people's holidays are in there too. Think about all that stuff and start generating content for that stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you should always have stuff ahead of time. Remember, you need to get 26 minimum exposure. So start early. Start creating this content early and create that content bank. And you have everything already ready there. You can take your time to chop it up and work on it and make it the way you want. And when those dates come, you already got posting, posting, posting. Like, these social media marketers or influencers are killing themselves because they're trying to create something every single day. You can't do that. You got other stuff in life that's lifing. I can't be behind a camera all the time. So so when I did my interviews for my documentary, I had people back to back
Mm-hmm.
every hour, different DJs, different artists, different producers. I had them coming in. I'm interviewing, and now I get to spend the next 2 3 months just chopping all that stuff up and getting it ready, right? And then now I have a content bank where I can just have it ready to available. Boom, popping it out, popping it out. I'm always timely. I'm always on time, and I'm going to be the first. There's a marketing term called first to market. You
Mm-hmm.
always got to be first if you can. That's what I'm saying. Start thinking about 2020, 2025. Hashtag 2020, 2025. Start getting these things going. Hashtag Martin Luther King Day. That's coming up in January. What's here's a stupid one. Hashtag MAGA. I know we hate it, but put it in there anyway. You're gonna bring some of those people too. Hashtag Democrat. I don't know. Hashtag vote. All these different things depending on the time of year it is or what's going on. Start using these things, regardless if it has anything to do with your video. If it's
Mm-hmm.
popular, that means it's proven and it's already bringing traffic.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Let's transition over to your community involvement. What motivated you to get involved in community initiatives?
You know what? I would have to say that was my grandmother. My grandmother was a big part of my life. She's always made us go down to, I think my grandfather was a Mason, and she would go down to the lodge and we would do stuff at the lodge with them. We would, go into the community, help feed the homeless, make sandwiches, hand them out, all these different things, right? So, as I become an adult and start going up, traveling up through my life, I always try to find something to give back. So I started to start mentoring the youth. I belong to Junior Achievement, and the reason Junior Achievement holds a significance with me is when I was 12 years old and I was looking for a job, there was a Junior Achievement program back in the 80s, which I didn't know went back then.
Yep.
And in that Junior Achievement, they teach you how to do resumes, interviews, and all these different things. And I start building all these skills, right?
Job training.
A job training, all that stuff, right? And then I get to put that on my resume that I just freshly created. And now I felt more powerful and confident walking into getting a job at 12 years old, because because I had all these skills. I know how to sit in front of someone and and speak and on my skill set, even though it might be far reach that I played football in high school or I was on a debate team or I babysitted or whatever. You gotta put any little skill set you have there, and then you kind of try to sell yourself to the employer. So so junior achievement has been a big thing to me. But now junior achievement today, it has advanced. Like, you actually going into high schools teaching kids how to start businesses, like how to be
Mm.
entrepreneurs. So the junior achievement program that cycle that I was just went in, I was with a group of kids. I was 10 kids, high school students. I believe they were juniors and seniors, and they split in half because they couldn't make a decision. So I told them to make two different companies. So one wanted to make bracelets, and the other one wanted to uh, they wanted to sell commercials, like kid commercials.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, there's anything could work. I've done some. I made something out of nothing. So the kids with the bracelets, they have to go through. They have to understand supply and demand. They have to understand operating costs. They have to understand all these different things to keep their business running. Like, you have to understand how much your cost in material for you to put all those things together. You got to think about your man hours because you got to pay the people on your team as well. And then they also divide themselves into the CEO, COO, CFO, uh, marketer, all these different things. And they actually went on social media, start selling their stuff. I believe one actually still is on the market. These kids, they created a wine glass with, they painted like that chalkboard paint on the
Yes.
glass. And then
Mm-hmm.
you can use, and they put inside the box, they put a piece of chalk. So you can write on the wine glass your name to let you know that that wine glass belongs to you. They
Oh, wow.
sold a ton of that. And then what they did to make it look all fancy, they went on Facebook Marketplace and they got these pallets, like those 4x4 pallets. They rip them all apart and they built these little boxes to create like a little chest to put these wine glasses in with the hay or whatever. So it looked
Right.
like a crate kind of a thing. And they made a ton of money. Those kids made $160,000, and then they, at the end of the year, they made 160,000 total, and they had to liquidate it, and then they had to uh, donate that money to charity.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the wine glasses. I believe I have. They gifted one to me for helping them with their project. It's in here somewhere. But even the bracelets, they only made like $5,000. But who would have known you would have made $5,000 from bracelets? You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
These other kids, they were trying to do that commercial. They realized that there was a lot of opportunity, but these kids actually had the bravery to approach radio stations. They approached the local news networks, and they actually got to be on TV. So even if they didn't sell, I think they only sold like 2 packages, but
Mhm.
the fact that they got so much exposure being on TV and everything just because they tried an idea, right?
Right.
So
Right.
junior achievement, just even though I'm help mentoring these students, is waking me back up again. Think outside the box. Look what these kids are doing from nothing. You know what I'm saying? And achieve the same results, right? So junior achievement was good. When I was in the military, I was a coach for the Special Olympics. That was very special to
Okay.
me. My son has autism, and I just want the world to be a better place for him. I wanted to be safe for him. So being part of that was really impactful for me. When I used to work at Home Depot, I was the foreman for Habitat for Humanity. I got to meet um, Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter. He came on one of our projects, and I got to meet him. But they're building houses for the homeless and stuff like that. I thought that was something really great. Being part of that, and also I'm building a new skill set. I know how to build things. I think that's one thing my wife loves is that she can give me little sweetheart projects, and I got the skill set to make it happen.
Your honeydew list.
Yeah, my honeydew list.
Oh,
uh,
wow.
I love basketball, Sweet Feet basketball camp. I remember when these guys were starting out, I helped them with their marketing, and they not only did basketball camp for boys, but they do one for girls as well. And then of course local farmers markets and donation. This is where I go as our marketer, and I look at these people who have these different products, and they just can't get their products off the ground. So
Mhm.
I offer my services to them, especially if I see as a product that they actually put some time and effort into and some investment in. I say, you just need to get it to the next level. Let's have a conversation. Let me take you to lunch. Let's talk about the growth of your product. And we got some people who went from working in the farmers market to having their own storefront. You
Mhm.
know, there's opportunities everywhere. It's just a matter of you just building relationships and making it happen. And of course, the mustard seed and hope mission. Uh, One of the things I did, this I didn't put this on here, but there was Boyle Street. It's like the Hope Mission, where it provides shelter for the homeless and stuff like that. And one of the things they were going through, because they have like a daycare service that they do for like single a woman and stuff with children.
Mhm.
And they, when COVID was about to hit, they were having like these increases in different infections and stuff like that, and they were trying to get under control. They didn't understand what was going on, and I told them, like, I have a health and safety designation. I have all this training. Like, I have uh, a certificate for radiological and pathological pathogens and all this other stuff. Like, I have so much stuff, but I use that education to help Boyle Street cut down. I coached them on their sanitation processes and procedures. I taught them about safety protocols and safe work procedures to protect themselves respiratorily, and then I also kind of went with the janitors and showed them, like, you got to look at the spaces where people touch all the time. You just can't blanket wipe some stuff. You got to intentionally think about how people walk down this hallway, and how they touch or how they grab door handles and all these other things, right? So, and then we cut the infection down to almost 2%. So it saved a lot of people from getting sick within that organization. But I can't do that no more. I think I'm too paranoid about COVID and all that other stuff, right? So I kind of stay away from that right now. So I love giving back to the community in any shape, form, or fashion, because you never know what you find. Like I said, helping those kids just open my eyes to more things.
Can you share a specific community project that you are particularly proud of?
Well, the biggest one is, the Habitat for Humanity. Building those houses for homeless families. Like when you have the finished product and you're at that celebration handing over the keys, to those families, like the tears and the gratitude that they give, like when they tell their story about, how they're sleeping on the streets and they're trying to use their body heat to make sure their children don't freeze, or how they have to wash in the McDonald's bathroom and they still got to send their kids to school. Like how they go into the dollar store and spray themselves and use products and deodorant in the aisle just because they have no choice, you know just to survive, right? And those are hard stories, and seeing that not only Habitat Humanity helped them with I think the mortgage is free, but if some of them have a mortgage attached, depending on the contractor involved, there's banks that help them with that, and they help them find jobs and everything else. So I just never seen an organization like that took look after people. Sorry, look after people.
Wow. Well, because it look like we're not gonna get a chance to finish everything, all the questions that I have for you. So I definitely would love to invite you back to the show to continue this, because this was more than just a prosperous show. But for the ending here of part one, can you leave our audience with with some nuggets that you want them to have, as well as your contact information, how to contact you if they've got questions or concerns, or just whatever it is that you think that they should know.
Sure, absolutely. Before I get into my contact information, find yourself a mentor. Mentorship is huge. Sharing knowledge, like they taught us back in the day, like knowledge is king. The more you learn, the more you're going to grow, the more opportunities work for you. So when I got a mentor, one thing they taught me is create your own opportunities. Quit waiting for people to promote you. Quit waiting for people to give you an opportunity to prove your worth. You know your worth, make it happen. Just like how I took something from nothing, different opportunities from going to farmers markets or being at shows or doing something I love. Think about that way. You create those opportunities, you ask the right questions, you build those relationships, and you can do anything. There's no such thing as no. You can make it happen. But you can find me you can go to my website at www.larryoninc.com. You can contact me. You can contact me on my email at lamar@larryinc.com or at my personal email at lamar.davis@gmail.com.
Well, I'd like to again, like, thank you again, and I definitely would love to have you back on the show to do a part two where we can conclude. For those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel, please hit the subscriptions button as well as the notifications button if you hadn't already, because as we do all of our shows live, you'll get a chance to watch the show now, or you can always go back and watch it later. You can also go back in the archives and watch all of the older shows. I'd like to thank you again, Mr. Davis, for giving us some time. And again, we hope you come back because, the information that you were talking, you were giving us was actually more than just fruitful knowledge, but it's very good knowledge. And I want to thank everybody for watching us tonight. We will be back tomorrow evening, same time, same channel. Please come and check out our show again tomorrow night. And again, for Mr. Davis and everybody else that's out here tonight on this particular show, believe me, everything that was given to you tonight is definitely for knowledge. And if you're an entrepreneur, you definitely need to get these nuggets so you can actually have the opportunity to build your own successful way, as Mr. Davis was just mentioning before. Thank you all. Have a great evening. And please check us out